with the different departments?
Coordination, Your Honor.
You coordinate with the different departments and you draft programs and do the implementation as well as the coordination with the rest of the departments of the LGU. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor. For example, in the case that I mentioned earlier, ma'am, in that partnership with the National Museum of the Philippines, it has to be approved first that we will embark on that project before we actually proceed any further.
Are you aware that city administrator is oftentimes referred to as Little Mayor? Have you heard of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Why do you think the position of, or the person, the city administrator, the municipal administrator, the provincial administrator are being referred to as Little Mayor?
Little Mayor, precisely, ma'am, because you are the go-to person of all city government, city department heads, and then sometimes you traffic the deliverables and the projects that are expected per city department head. In other words, Your Honor, my role really, I am not a city engineer. I am not a city veterinarian. But what I do is, if there is an issue on ASF that the local chief executive wants addressed, I coordinate with the city veterinarian who is actually the expert on that program. That is my role, Your Honor. It's purely, how do you say this? Ensuring that they are able to come up with their projects that they have proposed themselves and it is delivered at a certain timeline as they have committed to the mayor.
You are correct, Atty.Lopez, that the department heads are the experts on their respective field. But I wish to believe that before the mayors, the LCEs, take an action on whatever they are being presented, she is being presented, it always solicits for the green signal of the city administrator because you are expected to check the genuineness, the propriety, the veracity of all the concerns, programs, and projects which are being presented by the various department heads. Do you agree with me?
Your Honor, I speak from my experience. That is how it was done when I was city administrator for the local chief executive.
Do you mean to tell us, Attorney Zulaika, that for the longest time, that is 2010 to 2013, and then 2016 to 2022, your
2016.
opinion and recommendation was never solicited by your LCE?
Maybe on matters, Your Honor, such as, for example,
That is quite hard to believe, Attorney Zulaika, because otherwise, we will not be able to come up with this little mayor thing, which is being used to refer to the city administrator, if indeed walang kapangyarihan ang mga administrators. As a matter of fact, this representation used to be a municipal administrator.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, respectfully, I can really just speak from my experience. That is the style that I was accustomed to under the local chief executive.
Kanina po may mga programs kayong nabanggit which you implement. Can you please cite some in brief?
Katulad po nung na-mention ko ng collaboration.
Just the title, Attorney.
The construction, Your Honor, and partnership with the National Museum of the Philippines for the establishment of one such branch in the city of Davao.
What else?
The high priority bus system, Your Honor, that we started during the term of Vice President Inday Sara, but it's still ongoing right now. The Davao-Samal Connector Bridge, which also we started with, but it is still ongoing, as well as the pending, among others, the pending waste to energy projects. One of those that was finished is the underground cabling.
Just give us a rundown. What these programs did you implement during those times? we are talking about 9 long years, you sitting as the city administrator.
Yes, Your Honor. These were projects that were proposed by the city department heads.
So can you please
Judy.
give us a rundown? Ano po ba yung mga programs na yun? 3 pa lang po yung binigay nyo. We're talking about 9 years here.
Another one would be, another would be the Davao Bypass Road, which is a partnership with the JICA group. That
Parang
was
yung
also-
binabanggit nyo, ma'am, ay mga construction project.
Meron din
Tama
pong
po ba?
other activities, Your Honor. Of course, the celebration of all the festivals that happen in a year, which is tatlo, which is the Charter Day celebration, the Kadayawan Festival, the Pasko Fiesta, that one.
Do you mean to say, Attorney Sulaika, that among these programs coming from the various departments, you are partnering with the department head in terms of implementation?
Your Honor, the person responsible for the implementation really is the city department head. For
Sunod
example,
ko pong itatanong sa inyo, if you are not recommending, you are not suggesting, and then you will be telling me it is the department head who implements, ano pong ginagawa nyo as city administrator?
ma'am, I ensure that these projects happen
You
and
oversee.
are delivered on time.
And in overseeing, of course,
Or
you
schedule.
coordinate with the department heads. Tama po ba?
That is correct, Your
And you
Honor.
will agree with me also na lahat po ng programs na ito, we cannot implement them without the necessary budget. Tama po?
Yes, there is a budget for such.
And considering the length of time that you've been sitting as the city administrator of Davao City, you are well-versed pagdating po sa budget ng LGU. At least you are familiar with the budget of the LGU.
Familiar, yes. Not as familiar as, but as the finance cluster of the local
Because you said
government
you
would be-
coordinate. You coordinate with the different departments. Tapos sabi niyo po kanina, the budget preparation is being submitted by, the proposed budget are submitted by the different departments. So I suppose that in your coordination with the different departments, you are aware also of the budget of the LGU. Am I correct, Attorney?
For big ticket projects, Your Honor, yes, I am aware because they make the presentation, the city department heads.
What is that for?
For projects that like similar to the ones I mentioned early on. Your
Yes,
Honor.
and I suppose that when the project has a very huge allocation, you will be aware as well. I want to be enlightened about the budget of Davao City during your time as city administrator 2010 to 2013, 2016 to 2022. Ito po'y na-flash na natin noon, and I want to share it again to the committee. Kindly flash the confidential budget of the Davao City. This is 2016 to 2022. Attorney Sulaika. And apparently, in our previous hearings, we were able to show that among all the LGUs in the entire country, ang Davao City po ang nagkaroon ng pinakamalaki na confidential fund. Being the person who coordinate all the programs with all the focal persons and department heads. Can you please enlighten us? 2016 to 2022. Paano po ba natin na-utilize itong confidential fund na ito?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair,
Please
I may-
continue.
Yes. I appear here, Your Honor, pursuant to the subpoena that was issued me in line with the privileged speech of the Honorable Valeriano. It is in my capacity as the Undersecretary of the Office of the Vice President. I am not here, nor am I connected with the city administrator or city government. So I feel that I am not really competent to discuss budget concerns primarily because, of course, with all due respect to the new city administrator and also the administration of the city government of Davao, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, I wish to remind the resource speaker that the confidential fund which is being shown in the screen pertains to 2016 to 2022, the time when our resource speaker was the city administrator. Earlier, she explained a lot about coordination with the different departments concerning the program implementation. And I wish to believe that this confidential fund is part and parcel of some of the programs which they have implemented already in Davao City. So contrary to her manifestation, Mr. Chair, it is my humble opinion that she is in the best position to enlighten us. Saang programa po ba ginamit itong confidential fund na ito?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I mentioned earlier my role as city administrator. It is really to ensure the efficient and effective implementation of projects that are proposed by our city department heads and are approved by the local chief executive. I also mentioned, Your Honor, that part of my task is to coordinate with the city government departments, which are the various, in various different areas: city budget, city engineer, city taxation, local city zoning, city planning. These are the operations part of running a local government, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. In my experience and in my term as the city administrator, I have no direct knowledge, no personal information as regards the confidential budget of the city government of Davao.
Mr. Chair, if
It is
the
not-
resource speaker is making a representation that he has no knowledge whatsoever about the program utilization where this confidential fund were spent, then who has knowledge over the utilization to which program of this confidential funds?
Your Honor, I can only speak for myself.
Mr. Chair?
On my end, Your Honor, respectfully, much as I want to give a definitive answer, I have no personal information as to the utilization, disbursement of the confidential funds.
Mr. Chair, I just find it strange na si Attorney Sulaika po, alam niya yung tungkol sa museum, alam niya yung JICA project, and she has no knowledge whatsoever with respect to the huge amount of confidential fund that is from 2016 to 2022. If we can share it again in the screen, ang laking pondo po nito. As a matter of fact, if we will be following the joint circular during that time, this is 30% of the Peace and Order Program of the LGU of Davao. Hindi ko po maintindihan why we've been hearing that Davao City is the most livable place to live, the most peaceful place in the Philippines, and yet mayroon pong ganito kalaking halaga ng confidential fund. So, considering, Mr. Chair, the ample function, authority, discretion of an administrator, anyone who is assuming the position of an administrator, I do not understand why Attorney Sulaika could not enlighten us, at least of what she knows, to which program these confidential funds were utilized. If I may read, Mr. Chair, 2016, this is 144 million. 2017, this is 293 million. 2018 is 420 million. 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, 460 million. I wish to believe, Mr. Chair, that after the LCE, after the mayor, the next person who is aware about the program implementation, which includes the budget utilization, is the city administrator. As admitted by the resource speaker, she's the one coordinating all the programs. She's the one coordinating with all the departments. How come she has no knowledge at all with these huge amounts of confidential fund which were utilized in Davao City from 2016 to 2022? That is a manifestation, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Congressman Konghon.
Just a small question, Mr. Chair, in line of the questioning of Attorney Luistro, Congressman Luistro. Madam Zuleika Lopez, do you have an authority to sign checks nung mayor si VP Sara, si Mayor Sara?
Wala po.
Hindi ka pumipirma nung mayor si VP Sara, si Mayor Sara?
Wala po.
Hindi ka pumipirma ng cheque? Hindi ka nabigyan ng authority na pumirma ng cheque?
I do not anymore recall, but I think I signed. It's a delegated authority to the assistant city administrators, but in the event that they are on leave or on official travel, ako yung nagiging isang signatory. But it is not a usual task that I perform.
So you sign checks? You sign checks?
Some, Your Honor.
Vouchers? Of course.
Yun ba yung kadikat ng check? Yes, Your Honor. Only in instances
Including confidential funds? Of course.
No, Your Honor. As I mentioned earlier, respectfully, my role as city administrator is really, my task is confined to the operational.
Madam Sulweka, ano rin po ako, naging mayor po ako ng 7 taon. Usually po, isa sa mga responsibilidad ng chief of staff, sine-check po lahat ng voucher na pinipirmahan ng mayor. At usually po, ang administrator, pumipirma po ng mga vouchers, including confidential vouchers na confidential fund vouchers.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I am not the chief of staff. I was the city administrator.
Or the more reason why na
the
ikaw ay
local-
pumipirma.
Yes, Your Honor. The local chief executive has another and a person in a chief of staff of the city mayor's office. I am not that person.
But
so
you
for documents, I would assume that before it gets to the city mayor, there is a person who will review it for the city mayor's office.
But you signed vouchers of the local government unit of Davao?
Only in instances, Your Honor, that the person assigned or tasked with that function is on official business or not present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chair, I find
Yes,
it strange
Congresswoman
that
Luistro.
Atty.Lopez is claiming that she signs vouchers only on official business.
No.
But that's what you said.
No, Your Honor. Meron kasi pong taong na-delegate yung authority to sign for checks like payroll, etc. Merong pong taong yun.
When you say official business, Attorney Silaika, does that not include the utilization of confidential fund?
Again, Your Honor, I can only speak for my experience. I cannot speak for how it is in other local government units. I cannot. It is only from where I come from. I was city administrator for all of 9 years. All of 9 years, Your Honor. And my task really was to handle and ensure that all the projects, all the infra, all the other collaborations and projects that we have planned for the city government of Davao is implemented according to schedule.
So,
that
Ma'am-
has always
Lopez,
been my role.
Ma'am,
as city administrator of Davao,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are saying that you do not sign checks. Is that correct? As city administrator of Davao for the past, ilang years po ba yun? 6 or 9 years?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years. You do not, you have nothing to do with the checks. Wala po kayong pinipirmahan? No, just answer yes or no. May pinipirmahan po ba kayong cheque o wala as city administrator?
Merong mga instances na napipirma ako, Your Honor. Because
Hindi po ba part ng trabaho signatory kayo ng
I have,
cheque?
Your Honor, as city administrator, meron pong 2 pang assistant city admin who is tasked with that job.
Okay. Yung tanong po kasi nila, bilang city ad, kayo po ba ay isa sa mga signatory sa cheque referring to confidential fund?
Your Honor, I have no personal information
Hindi,
or
no.
knowledge. None.
So, ni isa po, wala po kayong pinirmahan
Wala po.
na confidential fund. Yun lang po yung ating tanong nila. Tama po? Wala?
Wala po.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, to substantiate the representation that was given to us by Atty. Salaiga, may I ask if she will be generous enough to share the vouchers which she signed during her time as city administrator?
Your Honor, I cannot anymore recall. And I feel that I am not, I do not have that information right now, so I cannot really share this information, if ever.
To continue, Mr. Chair?
Please continue, Congresswoman Luistro.
I understand, Attorney Sulaika, that in 2022, you were one of the 4 officials from Davao City who were brought to the OVP by the Vice President. Tama po ba?
That not brought, but we applied. Sumama po kami.
All right. You applied and you were admitted to the office of the Vice President. Am I correct?
Yes.
That is actually the pronouncement that was made by the Vice President. 4 high-ranking Davao City Hall officials have joined the OVP. That was her press statement. Can you please enlighten us? Sino po ba itong 4 na ito?
The other one, the second one is Mr. Lemuel Ortonio.
The one who did not attend the hearing.
And the third, I do not anymore recall, Your Honor.
Attorney, 4 kayo, hindi mo pa maalala.
Okay, Miss Jean Rose Texon. Sorry, forgot you. Sorry. It's Miss
May we
Jean.
know the position of Miss Jean?
I was the city tourism officer of Davao City.
And in OVP, you are?
I'm
What
the
position?
satellite lead of the Southern
Office.
Mindanao.
Satellite lead.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's the 4th official, attorney?
Your Honor, the one, Miss Carla Echavia, in charge of the appointments team. of
I
the
recall,
Vice President.
Attorney Sulaika, that during the last hearing, you failed to attend. Tama po? And you gave your explanation already kanina. It was a medical emergency in United States. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
I watched the press con of the Vice President, and she was very explicit about saying that she gave her authority, her travel authority to you.
She gave me authority to travel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But she did not make mention about the rest of the OVP officials who were not able to attend during the last hearing. Is it correct to assume that kayo po ay very close sa ating Vice Presidente. Reason why she really takes the initiative of justifying your absence, your travel during the last hearing.
Your Honor, my proximity to the Vice President or to the Principal is really because I am the Chief of Staff. And then I report to her on updates on the operations that happen on ground. So,
Why do you think she did not justify the absence of Gina Acosta,
I,
of Ortonio, Sunshine Fajarda, Edwin Fajarda? Bakit po kaya among all these officials, tanging kayo lang ang ginustify niya because of the travel authority that she issued in your favor?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I cannot presume to answer for the Vice President. She may have her reasons. But I filed the necessary request because it was a medical emergency. That's why I had to leave immediately that very same day.
Of course,
but-
you, Attorney, you understand that this is the 6th hearing already.
Yes, Your Honor.
May I know if you watched the previous hearings?
Hindi po lahat.
Or at least you heard about what happened during the previous hearings?
Are we talking about the hearing, ma'am, last? Hindi ko na po
The last
nasundan.
5 hearings.
The
If you didn't watch the last 5 hearings, at least you've heard about the salient developments that went through during those last hearings.
yes, I have heard some. Yes.
Of course, because this involves the OVP and the
Correct.
DepEd. Tama
Correct.
po ba?
Yes. I have
Do
heard
you
some.
know Yusek Mercado?
She used to be with the Department of Education, Your Honor.
That's what we understand as well. And you are with the Office of the Vice President.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Were there occasions when you also join the operation or program implementation of the DepEd?
No, Your Honor.
Were there occasions that you meet with the officials of the DepEd?
All operational concerns that are brought to the Office of the Vice President, because at the same time, she was also then the Secretary of Education, are matters we refer to USEC POA when
I
he
understand.
was...
But the question is about you, Attorney Zulaika. Mayroon ho bang mga pagkakataon na pumunta kayo doon sa DepEd para makiisa sa mga program implementation?
The only instances, Your Honor, that the Office of the Vice President were in DepEd were for instances when the Vice President receives courtesy calls in the bulwagan ng edukasyon.
Were there occasions when you joined the meeting of the key officials of DepEd?
No, Your Honor.
Were there occasions that you represented the Vice President in the official functions in the Department of Education?
No, Your Honor.
None at all.
None.
In one of those hearings, Attorney Zulaika, Yusek Mercado testified